Lately, it feels like a new state-of-the-art model gets released every single day, and it can get hard to keep track of the differences between these models, so I wanted to show you a tool that I use to do this research. We had a look at Chat Playground before on my channel, but if you're new to it, it's basically a single platform that you can use to access all the leading large language models in one place. And this also includes reasoning and chat models. But the feature I would like to show you is the Playground feature, where you can run multiple models at the same time to compare their outputs. So if you want to follow along, you can find a link to Chat Playground in the description of this video, or you can click on the card that should show up on your screen right now. After signing in, you should see a list of all the available AI models, and if you don't see your favorite model here, simply go to Settings, and here you can see all the available models in Chat Playground. To access any model, you can simply enable this toggle, and the model should now show up in your list of available models. And scrolling down, you can see that you've got access to all the chat models and reasoning models, and you also have image generation models like DALL-E and Flux. Now in this video, I will be comparing GPT-04, which is a chat model, with o3 Mini, which is a new reasoning model from OpenAI, and we'll also be comparing Gemini 2.0 Flash and Claude 3.7 Sonnet. And I think that should be it. We can start a chat with a new model by clicking on its name, and we can send it a message like hello, and we get our response back. And of course, you can see the conversation history, or simply start a new chat. What we're interested in though, is the Playground feature. This is where we can run multiple models at the same time to compare their results. So we can choose to run 2 models, 3 models, 4 models, or even 6 models at the same time. Let's keep it simple and let's compare 4 models. Let's compare GPT-40 to Gemini 2.0 Flash. Let's also run Claude 3.7 Sonnet, and I'll also run GPT-03 Mini, which is a reasoning model. I'm going to test these models against the following benchmarks. We'll have a look at creative writing, technical questions, information retrieval, and roleplay. Let's start with creative writing. Let's pass in this prompt. Write a short story about a robot who dreams of becoming a painter. And let's send this. Each of these models are generating their output, and this should give us a good idea of the response times for each of these models. Now let's have a look at the content that was generated. Starting with GPT-40. Looking at the length of the response, we actually do get quite a long story here with multiple paragraphs. And the formatting is relatively straightforward. But we did get a proper story back. And looking at Gemini 2.0 Flash, we also seem to get a nice and long story back as well. Claude 3.7 Sonnet generated nice formatting with the story, but this story is actually relatively short compared to the others. With o3 Mini, which is a reasoning model, we do get a nice long story back as well. Now, one nice feature about Chat Playground is that we can click on this button, and in its actions we can ask it to compare the results for us. So here we get a nice comparative analysis of the AI's responses. And it's measuring the responses against each of these different points. So storytelling structure, emotional depth, originality, character development, and thematic exploration. And Chat Playground also gives us this little table structure that gives us a beautiful breakdown of each of these different components. So this can be really useful if you want to generate content like blog posts or YouTube scripts, etc., and get a nice comparison between each of these different models. Let's start a new chat. This time I want to see how these models perform in terms of writing code. So let's send this prompt, write the snake game in Python. Let's send this, and we can see all these models are generating their responses. o3 Mini is taking slightly longer because it is a reasoning model. And now that they're done, let's actually test this code to see if it actually works. So here I've got a very simple Python environment set up, and let's see what GPT-40 gave us. So it says we need to install this dependency. So let's actually do that. Then it says here's the basic version of the snake game, and I'll actually just copy this code as is, and scrolling down, that seems to be all the code that is generated. So I'll simply paste in all that code into this file, and there doesn't seem to be any syntax errors, so let's try to run this. So in the terminal, I'll simply run py and app.py. Okay, so we've got this screen, and it seems to work. So I'm able to move our snake around and we lost the game. Cool, so this seems to be working. Let's have a look at Gemini 2.0's results. So let's open this up. Let's copy this code and add it to our IDE. Just scrolling down, this seems to be all the code that is generated. And what I do like about Gemini 2.0 is it is explaining all the code as well, where GPT-40 simply gave us the code by itself. This also gives us instructions on how to set up the Python environment. Right, so let's see if this actually works. Alright, so our snake is moving and it's growing as I'm grabbing all these little meals. And let's try to get a game over, which we do. Awesome. I'm actually really impressed with Gemini 2.0 Flash here, especially in terms of the quality of response and this explanation. Let's have a look at Claude 3.7 Sonnet, which I've got no doubt will do well, as it's really good at writing code. Let's copy its code, and let's add this to our Python file. Let's also scroll down to see what else it gave us. So besides for this code, it gives us instructions on how to play the game, as well as some of the requirements in terms of the Python version and the Pygame dependency. So it's not as detailed as Gemini 2.0 Flash, but let's give this a go. In the terminal, let's run this file, and let's see if we can play this game. Wow, this snake is super fast. So let's see if I can grab this meal, which I can. And let's actually go off screen. And cool, we lost. Right, now let's have a look at our final model, which is GPT-03 Mini. So looking at this result, it seems like it's not giving us all the code in one block. It's kind of giving us all this code in bits and pieces, which I'm not really a fan of, to be quite honest. And at the bottom we can see some code here, but I don't think this will be all the code in one place. Let's try to paste this in. And yes, we get all of these syntax errors. And that is because it's got a dependency on all the code at the top here. So let's just go through all of this. And let's just paste all of this code into the IDE. So we'll grab this. We'll grab Pygame, like so. Then let's grab the colors, like so. Let's add these constants for the screen width, like so. Then let's grab this code. And let's add it to the file. Let's add this clock line as well, like so. Let's grab these constants, like so. And let's copy all of this code as well and add it to our file. So after copying this across, we are getting some syntax errors. And that is because we are missing the indentation that this function expects. So I also have to manually add the indentation there. We have to do the same thing for this function. And we still have a syntax error because all the code within this game loop function isn't indented either, which is a little bit of a pain. So let's just scroll down all this way and let's indent all of this code. And finally, let's copy across this code and add it to the end of the file like so. And of course, this needs to be indented as well. And funny enough, this is actually a syntax error as well because name requires these underscores, and I think main requires it as well, like so. So GPT-03 Mini got this wrong completely, but let's see if this actually works. Okay, so this does seem to run, and I am able to move the snake around, and we get our game over screen. But this was really a pain to implement, and strictly speaking, 03 Mini actually got this code wrong. So this is a very nice way to experience the different responses from these models. And personally, I really like the Gemini 2.0 Flash version of this, where it not only gave all the code, but it gave a very detailed explanation of the game logic as well. Next, let's have a look at information retrieval. In other words, the ability for these models to go online, do some research, and provide an accurate response. By default, these models can only answer questions from their knowledge base. So as an example, if I had to ask something like, what is the current weather in London? All of these models will tell me that they're not able to retrieve up-to-date information. So what we can do is click on this button to allow web search, and you will notice that only these three models have the ability to perform a web search. At the moment, Gemini 2.0 Flash can't call the web search tool within chatplayground. So if we wanted to, we could swap it out for another model, but let's simply try out these other models. So now that we have web search enabled, let's give it a nice little challenge. Let's say, retrieve the API pricing for OpenAI 4.0, 03 Mini, and the new O1 Pro models. Then create a table that compares the cost per 1 million tokens, input and output. Let's run this, and these results are actually really interesting. Firstly, 4.0 decided not to use the tool, and is simply trying to answer the question from its training data, which is not going to be super accurate. Now, this could be a bug within Chat Playground, and this might work after a few attempts. But at the moment, the agent decided not to use the tool, so this might put into question how accurate the model is in deciding when to use tools. Obviously, Gemini 2.0 Flash didn't have access to the web search tool, so we're not going to look at its response. Claude 3.7 Sonnet generated this table, and this is actually not accurate. O1 Preview is not O1 Pro, so this pricing is not accurate. Surprising is that GPT-03 Mini seems to be the only model that actually obtained the correct information. So if I look at the pricing for the O1 Pro model, it is indeed $150 for the input tokens and $600 for the output tokens, which is reflected in its table. So this is a very interesting example. We could question the type of tool that's provided by Chat Playground and how it's assigning the tools, but at the end of the day, it seemed like O3 Mini was the best at actually retrieving this information for us. So the reasoning capabilities might be the reason why it was able to produce a more accurate answer. Finally, let's have a look at roleplay. So in the prompt, let's say, you are a grumpy old pirate named Captain Pegleg Pete. Answer the question, what is the best way to find buried treasure? So these models all generated their responses relatively quickly, and O3 Mini just finished as well. And again, we can easily compare these results by clicking on this button. Let's select Compare, and our Chat Playground is doing all the hard work for us. So it's decided to compare these aspects, like adherence to the pirate theme, humor, practicality, creativity, and engagement. And then we get this table comparing all the different models against each of these metrics. This is just a super elegant way to try out these different models and to compare their responses. What I would tend to do is to ask different models to come up with YouTube scripts or title ideas and get a feel for which of these models are actually aligned with my style. If you would like to learn more about Chat Playground and how to use this platform, then check out my full tutorial over here. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next one.